We are here live in Han Plaza, where today we're talking about books. More coming up.
Can parents opt out of LGBTQ stories for their kids at school? We talked to an education professor about the debate.
The Trump administration is looking to eliminate funding for early education. Find out more about what this could mean for thousands of families. See It Live starts now. Tonight, our show is all about education, academic freedom, and books. Hi, I'm Dylan Luden.
And I'm Clarissa Cuenca. This weekend, USC will host their 30th LA Times Festival of Books. Let's go live to Vincent DeMonte on campus. Vincent, what can we expect this weekend?
Hi, Clarissa. Yeah, for a lot of USC students, you guys might be noticing white tents popping up across campus, a giant stage here in Han Plaza, and I guess just a general spirit of books. I guess that just means that there is a very special weekend ahead of us.
Yo, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. So tell me what you want, what you really, really
1996 was filled with songs from the Spice Girls, low-rise jeans, and the movie Independence Day. But it was also the beginning of one of the biggest events in the reading world, the LA Times Festival of Books.
So the fact that this festival has grown from the little festival that started 30 years ago at UCLA and is still through all the changes in publishing and COVID and all the things that happened that we've made it to 30 years is really amazing.
The two-day festival at USC will bring together some of the biggest names in the reading world, including poet Amanda Gorman, romance novelist Rebecca Yarros, and Wicked director John Chu. It also will include a number of discussions and panels. For cartoonist and author Anders Nielsen, the festival is a great way to introduce people to new literary works.
It's a great opportunity to expose your work to more people that might not otherwise come across you. Like, people will come to the panel probably because of, the other folks on the panel, and then they get to see my work, and vice versa.
Looking at this festival by the numbers, there will be over 600 authors and artists here this weekend, and they will be speaking and sharing their work to close to 1,500,000 expected book lovers and visitors. For multiple USC students, they are super excited about this festival being right here on campus.
And I think it's just great to see how the creators feel beyond their actual creations. Another thing I love is just seeing the huge community that comes to be around books and narratives and all of that. So just seeing the love of books and everyone come here is the coolest thing.
While the festival remains a place to celebrate artists and their works, it's also a place to celebrate the art of storytelling, both with the reading community and visitors.
So here we are, every year coming together, celebrating that ability that we have to share stories. And whether it's on a podcast, whether it's sitting with a book, whether it's parents sharing books, that they read with their children, that is something that is so special to us as humans.
The festival is free to the public and will share the power of reading with those who attend. While the Festival of Books may turn the page after this weekend, this certainly isn't the end of its 30-year-long story. Yeah, guys, well, right behind me is this really cool kind of billboard-esque thing right here showcasing some of the flyers over the past few years, over the past 30 years, rather, from the Festival of Books. A lot of them take inspiration from some of the head artists of each year and the bestseller of each year. They have the names of those under each of these years. They have some really cool designs here. Arthur, the Very Hungry Caterpillar, even No David makes an appearance right there. But this event is this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So for you book lovers out there, be sure to grab your favorite book, probably a pen, and be able to share this festival with all the other book lovers here in Los Angeles. Reporting live from Han Plaza for Annenberg Media, I'm Vincent DeMonte.
More than 400 college and university presidents have now signed a letter condemning what they call, quote, government intrusion into higher education. Universities that are part of the American Association of College and Universities co-authored the letter together. Signees include the presidents of Harvard, Princeton, and UCLA. USC President Carol Folt has not signed the letter. The letter directly states, as leaders of America's colleges, universities, and scholarly societies, we speak with one voice against the unprecedented government outreach and political interference now endangering American higher education. We asked President Folt why she refused to sign the open letter. In a statement to Annenberg Media, President Folt said, quote, I deeply respect the presidents who choose to sign. We are all committed to the mission and values of our universities. We also have a range of opinions about signing open letters, which I rarely do. Several USC professors emailed President Folt urging her to sign.
Dear President Folt, I urge you to sign the American Association of Colleges and Universities letter representing a call for constructive engagement. I went to a meeting on Tuesday with Carol Folt, and she was pushed quite strongly on why she wasn't signing these letters and wasn't fighting back. And she basically made a claim for compliance.
I can only speak as a member of the faculty who looks at the cowardice of our administration. Is this an institution that somebody who is an incoming student would really want to be associated with? Is this an institution that is saying we fight for the things that are right? Is this an institution that says we have your backs? When President Folt says, don't worry, this will be over, if not immediately, fairly soon, I have to think that not only is she failing to meet the moment, but she's failing to look reality in the face.
President Folt is leaving her position on July 1st, the end of the academic year.
President Trump signed an executive order that would overhaul the accreditation process for colleges and universities. The purpose of the accreditation process is to make sure colleges and universities meet basic standards. Under the president's order, schools that require diversity in their admission policies would have their official accreditation threatened. If a university lost its official accreditation, students may not be able to receive federal financial aid, including Pell Grants, for low-income students. Here at USC, 4,000 undergraduate students receive Pell Grants, and 11,000 receive some form of federal financial aid. That's according to USC's Financial Aid Office. When he signed the executive order, Trump said threatening the accreditation of universities was his, quote, secret weapon to reshape higher education.
Today, a New Hampshire federal judge restricted President Trump's ability to withhold federal funding from public schools with DEI policies. The court found that actions to withhold funds would, quote, cripple the operations of many educational institutions and are a violation of executive branch power in overseeing local school districts.
Harvard University is planning on using a law known as the Administrative Procurement Act in their lawsuit against the Trump administration to unfreeze billions of dollars in federal funding. This came after the president demanded access to university records on anti-Semitism and anti-Muslim bias on campus. The administration also wants audits of its faculty for plagiarism and political views, along with admissions and hiring policies. The Trump administration is demanding a reduction of student and faculty influence on university affairs, reports of federal authorities about foreign student conduct, and external oversight of academic departments to require viewpoint diversity. CNN reports Harvard has been turning to mega donors, but they have yet to publicly announce any support. However, Harvard received nearly 4,000 online donations, totaling more than $1 million.
The beginning of your education journey is what sends you to schools like Harvard. Reporter Dana Hammerstrom is here with more on proposed cuts to early childhood education.
Thanks, Dylan. Education doesn't begin when you start kindergarten. For many, programs like Head Start provide a smoother transition for low-income kids entering school. Now, those programs are threatened.
Low-income programs at public schools are under attack. Head Start is a 60-year-old program that gives low-income families resources like health screenings, meals, and after-school care at no cost. the White House wants to cut funding for this program, a major loss, according to USC's School of Education dean.
If they also reduce the amount of funds that go to it, it'll be devastating because so many communities are dependent on those funds to support their schools.
The Head Start program currently helps about 800,000 low-income kids in the U.S. and 80,000 in California.
It gives the families this opportunity to know that they're sending their kids somewhere where, like I said, one, it's safe, two, they're going to provide food, they're going to have meals, they're going to have snacks.
Teachers like Pettiflu in San Diego are trying to build children's educational foundation with very little government support. These proposed cuts bring that support to zero.
It's not really just about benefiting the kid, it's benefiting the whole family at that point. I'm just imagining that some families won't be able to go work because they're going to have to stay home with their kid.
Head Start had bipartisan support when it was first created under President Lyndon Johnson. Since then, some Republicans have criticized its funding.
These are just sweeping orders that have devastating consequences. And so it's time for the Republicans in Congress to do more than just sit back and appease the administration. I think we have to besiege the administration with calls and with, let them know that of the harm they'll inflict upon the public. We should be expanding access to early childhood education, not limiting it further.
Dean Noguera noted that early education is vital and that the Head Start program is the largest initiative to support future generations. For Annenberg Media, I'm Dana Hammerstrom.
Well, we are now joined by Dana at the desk. Dana, thank you for joining.
Thank you.
So I wanted to first ask you, why does the federal government want to cut this program?
That's a good question, and it's not something that they have explicitly stated publicly. What I have been hearing from the dean at Rossier is that it is all about kind of limiting the government impact on schools and leaving it up to the states.
And if these cuts do go through, what are we going to see immediately affected? Who's going to be immediately affected?
Immediately, it's going to come down to low-income students. Those are the people that are benefiting from these programs primarily right now. And it's not just about the students. It is about their families as well. Like what the teacher was saying in the package, it isn't just about creating a strong space for education. It's about teaching kids how to be productive members of society. And so it's too soon to tell right now.
Well, thank you, Dana, so much for being here with us tonight.
Thank you.
The U.S. Supreme Court is expected to rule this summer on whether Maryland parents could opt their children out of instruction that includes LGBTQ+ themes. In oral arguments on Tuesday, the conservative-leaning court seemed to side with parents, agreeing there wouldn't be any harm in allowing their children to be removed from instruction that goes against their religious beliefs. Not all educators agree.
This is something a lot of people believe, that, well, like, why can't we just opt our kids out? Because, we're the parents, we should just be able to decide, and, you should tell us, and then we'll take our kids out. But there is actually a good bit of harm that occurs when we do this. Well, is there an LGBTQIA person involved in this historical event? Well, I don't want my child to learn about that because you're going to talk about that person, so I'm exempting my child from the lesson. Well, now your child has missed a lot of other content as well.
Several protesters stood outside the Supreme Court during arguments, some holding up "Let Parents Parent" signs. Parents supporting the suit say they are not seeking to remove the books from school libraries or classrooms. They just don't want their children to have to discuss them. The school system has already withdrawn 2 of the controversial books.
Time now for the lightning round, when we take a minute to bring you some of the top stories that fall outside the theme of today's show. The man who fired on a 4th of July parade near Chicago 3 years ago was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Families of the 7 killed and dozens wounded packed the courtroom. Top USC basketball recruit Elijah Arenas was hospitalized after crashing his Tesla Cybertruck into a tree. Arenas slipped into a coma but is reported to be in stable condition. President Trump told Russian President Putin to stop attacking Kyiv after Russia launched its deadliest strike on the capital since last summer. The online Trump store is now selling Trump 2028 hats, even though the Constitution expressly limits a president to serving no more than 2 terms. And just moments ago, with the first pick in the NFL draft, the Tennessee Titans selected Cam Ward. Ward is a quarterback from the University of Miami. That's our roundup for today. Make sure to tune in next week for another lightning round.
Just ahead, students answer the question, what's your favorite book?
I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, memorializing the Holocaust. What do these 2 books have in common? They're both banned. Stay tuned to find out more.
The use of AI in education can be controversial. Now K-12 schools are encouraged to use it. We talk with a USC education professor who warns of potential caveats if AI isn't used properly.
USG election season has kicked off.
They have a huge game on Thursday, right?
Huge.
Prior to that, he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat.
And a warning tonight about a massive storm heading our way.
We're live here at the Galen Center. What would y'all do if you had $2.5 million?
Music, art, and women empowerment.
And she put her stamp on Big Ten history.
Those are men swimming like fish.
Thanks for watching.
Annenberg TV News. You never miss an episode.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Thanks for watching.
So, live from the Halo is USC Annenberg's take on NPR's Tiny Desk concerts. This is like a platform for USC students and adjunct students just to perform and play their music for an audience.
President Donald Trump signed an executive order on Tuesday calling for the advancement of artificial intelligence education for American youth. The administration hopes that the implementation of AI in school programming will help students, quote, adapt and thrive in an increasingly digital society and changing workplace. The policy raises concerns about the learning gaps that can come from AI in the classroom and questions about how it will be integrated. The AI education market is expected to grow from $2.5 billion to $20 billion by 2028. A USC professor says new AI educational software needs to be developed.
If the goal is to really finding ways to use AI meaningfully and responsibly to promote student learning, yes, there is potential for that. But if the goal is to just find, the couple of existing tools or, the companies who are already doing work without showing the effectiveness, then I have a big question mark whether this will an effective approach to improve education.
The administration has given the U.S. Secretary of Education 120 days to prioritize AI teacher training programs through discretionary grant programs.
Earlier this month, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told the U.S. Naval Academy to remove over 400 books to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion. The popular downtown bookstore, The Last Bookstore, has a table dedicated to banned books. President Trump issued an executive order in January banning various books on race, gender, and other subjects at public K-12 schools that receive federal funding.
It gets scary, because people laugh when they see the table, one, because there's never any books on there, and they think that's the joke, but we sell out of everything, and then people question why certain books are on there, like, Charlotte's Web and stuff, books that you wouldn't think be banned, but then, anything with kind of free will, free ideas, that's what usually gets banned, unfortunately.
One thing that has changed recently, I think, is that people do come in with a little bit of a bent toward banning. There was a case a few weeks ago where someone turned all the books in the Israel section upstairs all the way around. The spines were faced in. So people are kind of coming in and trying to ban books themselves. a little bit, which I think is interesting.
The books with the most lawsuits against them include All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson, Gender Queer, a Memoir by Maya Kobabe, and The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. In February, the Big Five publishers filed a joint lawsuit challenging the banning of books in schools and libraries. According to PEN America, more than 10,000 books were banned last school year.
From banned books to classics to kids' books, what are favorites among USC students?
My favorite book right now is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah because it's very funny and it's educational, not just about his life, but like South African history.
Mine is very stereotypical. It's going to be Contact by Carl Sagan. It's about the search for aliens, and it's a really philosophical book as well. It's very exciting and cool.
Our favorite book is No, David, No. David is just like this little kid that wants to do whatever he wants to do, and his parents are always telling him no. So he's a really relatable character. It's cute.
And Trojans respect consent. So,
Yes.
yeah.
It has to be the Percy Jackson series. It's just my forever childlike wonder. It's what started my love for like Greek mythology and everything. So, forever Percy Jackson fan.
Okay, this is like kind of a heart-wrenching book, but I would say Bridge to Terabithia because that was like the first book that actually made me like lose my mind.
Yeah.
Sobbing, and I like connected with that book so much. It's just like such a big part of like my childhood too, so.
Well, all those books that were mentioned were amazing, but Clarissa, do you have a favorite book in particular?
Yes, I love the whole series, but I love the Hunger Games, particularly Catching Fire. I think Suzanne Collins just has a way to draw you in and imagine this world, and I think that's great, and I think I've read it about 10 times, to be honest with you. What about you?
Yeah, well, it's something I read it in school, and that is To Kill a Mockingbird. That story has kind of stayed with me, you know, forever since I first read it back in high school. You know, Atticus Finch is one of the best characters in modern literature, and of course, Gregory Peck played him to perfection in the movie, which he won an Academy Award for Best Actor. So it was a great book, and it was a great on-screen adaptation, which I love to see from both sides.
Of course, it's great when the movie lives up to the book, of course. Thanks for watching See It Live. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Clarissa Cuenca.
And I'm Dylan Luden. For more coverage, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. We'll see you next time. Good night.